Happy Halloween, bitches. You like horror and gore? We're gonna talk about it. Yeah. Episode 6. The Forgotten Series. Documentary or documentary? Whatever one you prefer, motherfuckers. We're gonna talk about Manhunt today. The gruesome, brutal, stab 'em up. Published by Rockstar. Published by the best game company in the world. Published by Jason Voorhees himself, Michael Myers. Just kidding. All jokes aside, let's talk and let's get into it. Manhunt is a stealth-based survival horror video game series developed by Rockstar North, as well as several other Rockstar studios and published by Rockstar Games. The series began in 2003 with the release of Manhunt, and continued in 2007 with Manhunt 2. The name of the series and its games are derived from the term manhunt, as used in law enforcement, where it refers to an intensive search for a dangerous fugitive. As of 26 on March 2008, the Manhunt franchise has sold over 1.7 million copies worldwide. The gameplay consists of a mixture of milksters and of stealth and psychological horror elements played from a third-person perspective, and has gained the controversy for its graphic violence. The games are in a form of an anthology series like many other Rockstar games, and so are the plots of the two games are unrelated. Both games focus on protagonists with dark pasts who must attempt to escape from a particularly dangerous and perverse situation. The antagonist in each game is a character who has betrayed the protagonist, but over whom they exert a great degree of control and trust. The individual stages of each Manhunt installment are typically referred to in a way that relates to the game's plot. In the first game, stages are scenes, which relate to the snuff films in which the protagonist is forced to participate. In the second game, stages are called episodes, relating to the mental state and experiences of the protagonist. An escaped mental patient, in this vein, the gameplay in itself in Manhunt 2 is referred to as treatment. For example, instead of load game option from the main menu, the option is continue treatment. Players survive the stages by dispatching enemies, occasionally with firearms, but primarily by stealthily executing them in brutal, gross ways, often in bloody over the top. In order to carry out the executions, the players must approach an enemy from behind undetected. To facilitate this, each stage in both games is full of dark spots, shadows, where the players can hide. Enemies cannot see into the shadows unless they see the player actually entering the area. A standard technique in both games to hide in the shadows, tap a wall to attract the attention of a nearby enemy, and when he has examined the area and is moving away, the player can emerge from the shadows behind him and execute him. In the first game, Manhunt 1, at the end of each scene, the player is graded based on their performance and awarded 1 to 5 stars. Unlockable content becomes available only when the player achieves 3 or more stars or a certain number of levels. On normal difficulty, called Fetish, the player can only earn 4 stars. 1 is awarded for completing the scene under a certain amount of time, and 1 to the 3 stars are awarded based on the brutality of the executions carried out during the scene. On hard difficulty, called Hardcore, the player is graded out of 5 stars. 1 for speed, 1 to 3 for brutality, and 1 for simply completing the scene. To gain the maximum number of stars, a set number of particularly brutal executions must be carried out over the course of each scene. Face-to-face fighting does not award stars. The rating system was dropped from the sequel. Both games feature 3 levels of execution, with each level progressively more violent and graphic than the last. Level 1 executions are quick and not very bloody. Level 2 are considerably more gory, and Level 3 are over-the-top blood-soaked murders. The players control which level they use. Once the player has locked onto an enemy, the lock-on reticule changes colors over time to indicate the level, white being level 1, yellow being level 2, and finally red being level 3. As an example, in the first game, if using the plastic bag, a level 1 kill involves the player simply using the bag to suffocate the enemy. A level 2 kill involves placing the bag over the enemy's head and kneeing them repeatedly in the face. A level 3 kill sees the player strangle the enemy and turn them around to punch them in the face, whilst the enemy struggles and gasps for air until the player snaps the enemy's neck. For the sequel, although the basic gameplay remained the same, numerous changes was made to the mechanics. For examples, players were given much more choice in terms of executing enemies, as well as the 3 levels of execution per weapon. Players could also use firearms for executions. 2 further additions into the execution systems were environmental executions, whereby the player could use elements of the game world such as manhole covers, telephones, fuse boxes, toilets, and etc. to eliminate every opponent and jump executions, whereby players can attack enemies from above by leaping off a ledge. The shadow system in the second game was also tweaked, and Manhunt, unless a hunter saw a player enter a shadow area, he would be unable to detect the player within it. Manhunt 2, however, enemy AI was expanded upon, with some enemies more vigilant than others. When hiding in the shadows, if an enemy investigates the area, the player may have to mimic a combination of buttons or motions similar to a QuickTime event in order to regulate the character's breathing, so as to ensure that he remains calm and undetected. In the Wii version, the player must hold the controller completely still, and then in the PC version, the player must keep the cursor inside an on-screen circle. Climbing and crawling were also added to the game to increase the sense of exploitation. Another new feature was the ability to smash lights, so to create an extra pocket of shadow. Over the course of both games, the player can use a wide variety of weapons, including plastic bags, baseball bats, crowbars, and a variety of bladed items. Later, firearms became available in each game. If the player is running low on health, painkillers are available throughout each stage. In the first game, the player also has a stamina meter which depletes during sprinting, but automatically replenishes while standing still. Manhunt is set in Kata City, Manhunt 2 in Cottonmouth. Both cities exist within the same fictional universe as Bully and the Grand Theft Auto series. Both games take place in particularly dangerous areas of the city, sometimes to the extent that the area has been wholly abandoned and subsequently populated by criminals and corruption. Whereas cordoned off from the rest of the city, these cities are full of different gangs, distinguishable by their group's trademark outfits, which serve to differentiate them from other gangs. These gangs range from small-time petty criminals to powerful organized syndicates. So now that we gave you a brief overview of what the game Manhunt was about, we're going to break it down. So Manhunt, bloody, gruesome, gore, stabbing people, had only a few installments, and we're going to get into it. Manhunt 1. Manhunt 1 tells the story of James Earl Cash, a supposedly executed death row inmate who was forced to participate in a series of snuff films for a former film producer turned underground snuff director. Although the game was well received by critics, it was banned in New Zealand and became embroiled in a media frenzy in the UK when it was linked to a murder, although the police ultimately cleared the game from having any bearing on the crime. Manhunt 2. Manhunt 2 tells the story of Daniel Lamb and Leo Casper, 2 inmates who escaped from Dixmoor Asylum from the criminally insane. The game follows them as they try to put together Daniel's past, all the while being hunted by members of a mysterious group known as The Project. Manhunt 2 was originally scheduled for a North American and European release in July 2007, but the game was suspended by Take-Two, Rockstar's parent company, when it was refused classification in the United Kingdom, Italy, and Ireland, and given an adults-only rating in the United States. As neither Sony nor Nintendo allowed adult-only ratings on their system, this officially meant the game was banned in the US. In response to this, Rockstar edited the game, blurring the screen during the game's executions and removing the scoring system. This edited version was given an M rating by the ESRB and was released in the US on the 29th of October 2007. The uncensored version would later be released on PC. However, the BBFC refused to classify the edited version for the UK market. Rockstar appealed the decision, and ultimately the Video Appeals Committee voted that the game could be released with an 18 cert. And that really took a damage point when Rockstar had to blur the on-killing sequences for Manhunt 2, it really shut the game down because that was pretty much what the game was for, gore. So when the first one had to tone it all down, well, sales declined, but it got picked back up when the PC unreleased, uncensored version became releasable, and a lot of people enjoyed it. The Manhunt series has been a source of considerable controversy since the release of the original game, like most of Rockstar's early releases. Take the GTA series. The first controversy was the murder of Stefan Parkafa, and I apologize if I pronounced that name wrong, may he RIP. On 28th of July 2004, Manhunt was linked to the murder of Stefan, who was 14, by his friend Warren LeBlanc, which was 17, in Lancashire, England. Initial media reports claimed that the police had found a copy of the game in LeBlanc's bedroom, seizing it for evidence. And Gasil Pakara, the victim's mother, stated, "I think I heard some of Warren's friends say that he was obsessed by this game. And if he was obsessed by it, it could well be that the boundaries of him becoming quite hazy." Stefan's father, Patrick, added they were playing a game called Manhunt. The way Warren committed the murder, this is how the game is set out: killing people using weapons like hammers and knives. There is some connection between the game and what he has done, Patrick continued. The object of Manhunt is not just to go out and kill people. It's a point-scoring game where you increase your score depending on how violent the killing is. That explains why Stefan's murder was as horrific as it was. If these games influence kids to go out and kill, then we do not want them in the shops. During the subsequent media coverage, the game was removed from shelves by some vendors, including both UK and international branches of Game and Dixon's, as the media speculated that the game could be banned completely. There was a significantly increased demand for both from retailers and on internet auction sites. Shortly after the murder, U.S. Attorney Jack Thompson, who has campaigned against violence in video games, claimed that he had written to Rockstar after the game was released, warning them that the nature of the game could inspire copycat killings, but it had been ignored. Soon thereafter, the Parker family hired Thompson with the aim of suing Sony and Rockstar for 50 million euros in a wrongful death claim. However, on the same day that Thompson was hired, the police officially denied any link between the game and the murder, citing drug-related robbery as the motive, and revealing that the game has been found in Parker's bedroom and not LeBlanc's, as originally reported. The presiding judge during the trial also placed sole responsibility with LeBlanc, sentencing him to life. Although the Parkers and Thompson continue to maintain that the game was LeBlanc's, their case against Sony and Rockstar was dropped soon after the evidence came to float. Speaking about Jack Thompson, more controversy surrounding him. Following Manhunt 2's announcement on the 6th of February 2007, Jack Thompson vowed to have the game banned, claiming that the police was incorrect in asserting Manhunt had belonged to Pakra and that Take-Two were lying about the incident. And this was a quote by the man himself. "I have been asked by individuals in the United Kingdom to help stop the distribution of Take-Two Rockstar's hyper-violent video game Manhunt 2. In that country, due out to this summer, the game will feature stealth, murder, and torture. The last version allowed suffocation of victims with plastic bags. The original Manhunt was responsible for the belonging death of the British youth by his friend who obsessively played the game. The killer used a hammer, just as in the game he played. Take-Two Rockstar, anticipating the firestorm of criticism with the release of the Murder Simulator sequel, is lying to the public on both sides of the pond in stating this week that the game had nothing to do with the murder." And that was a quote directly from Jack Thompson himself. On the 10th of March, he said that he planned to sue Take-Two Rockstar in an effort to have both Manhunt 2 and the Grand Theft Auto 4 banned as public nuisances. However, on the 16th of March, Take-Two petitioned the U.S. District Court, SD of Florida, to block the impeding lawsuit on the grounds that video games purchased for private entertainment could not be considered public nuisances. The following day, Thompson wrote on his website, "I have been praying literally that Take-Two and its lawyers would do something so stupid that such a misstep would enable me to destroy Take-Two. The pit Take-Two has dug for itself will be patiently clear next week when I strike back." Another quote from the man himself. On the 21st of March, Thompson filed a countersuit accusing Take-Two of multiple violations of the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act of RICO, as well as he continued to effort in his violation that it was of his constitutional rights. Beginning in July 2005, he also accused the Entertainment Software Association, Penny Arcade, IGN, GamePolitics.com, GameSpot, GameSpy, Eurogamer, Kotaku, Blank Rome, and the U.S. Justice Department of collaborating and conspiring with Take-Two to commit racketeering activities. This guy sounds like a fucking nut job. The dispute was ultimately settled before it went to courts. Thompson agreed not to sue, threatened to sue or attempt to block the sale of distribution of any Take-Two game, and not to communicate to Take-Two or any store selling their games, or any accusation that they have committed a wrongdoing by doing so. For their part, Take-Two agreed to drop a prior suit accusing Thompson of contempt of court concerning the game Bully, which he attempted to have banned in 2005. So this guy must have got some money under the fucking bedroom, and he was like, alright, I'll shut up. I got some money. I'm gonna shut up. I'll tap dance for you. I'll tap dance, you little bitch. I'll fold my cards up, little bitch. Fuck you, bitch. However, in the letter dated 8th May to Wendy's CEO Carol Anderson, Thompson demanded that the restaurant drop an upcoming promotion featuring children toys designed after the Wii game Excite Truck, Wii Sports, and Super Mario Galaxy because Manhunt 2 was scheduled for release on the console. An excerpt from Thompson's letter states, Manhunt 2 will feature, according to video games news sites, beheadings with hatchets, belongings with baseball bats, the jammings of syringes and eyeballs, cutting opponents' testicles off, and environmental sickening kills with common objects in the field of vision, such as electrical cords to strangle victims. One pro video game industry site is referring to Manhunt 2 as a true murder simulator. When played on a Wii, a dear friend of mine worked for Wendy's and with Dave Thomas closely for years. From that I know Dave Thomas would have never tolerated the use of Wendy's good name to promote the Nintendo Wii. Not with this game available on the Wii platform. Another dumb quote from the man himself. Wendy's did not respond to Thompson and continued with their Wii promotion. Of course they are. In his final involvement with the game on the 12th of May, Thompson sent a letter to the Florida Attorney General Bill McCollum and Florida Governor Charlie Crist, which read, in part, another fucking quote by this dumbass man. Florida retailers are scheduled to sell a very violent video game called Manhunt 2, which will be available remarkably for play on the kids-friendly Nintendo Wii gaming platform. The Wii device does not utilize traditional push-button game controllers, but instead utilizes handheld motion capture devices. It's a training device. From the stupid idiot himself. This prompted McCollum to look into the situation. In the 6th of June interview on Fox News, McCollum suspiciously expressed concerns regarding how Manhunt 2 utilized the Wiimote in an interactive manner. For instance, in order to stab someone, the player would have to flick the remote forward, in much of the same fashion one would do when actually stabbing with a knife. When cutting someone's throat, the player would have to move the remote from left to right. The immersive nature of the Wii version would go on to become one of the most controversial aspects of the game. Yeah. So we're gonna had to leave a brief moment of silence for that dumb shit. So we're gonna talk about the legal statuses. Manhunt was refused classification on 28th of September in 2004 by the Classification Review Board, despite the fact that it had already been on sale for almost a year at the time, having earlier received a classification of 15. And then Manhunt 2 was never submitted for classification to the OFLC in Australia. So pretty much the game was already on sale for a year, and then it got refused classification for Manhunt. And then in Canada, following a meeting in Toronto on the 22nd, the 22nd of December 2003, between Bill Hastings and the Chief Censor of New Zealand, the officials from the Ontario Ministry of Consumer and Business Services, Manhunt became the first computer game in Ontario to be classified as a film and was restricted to adults on the 3rd of February 2004. The British Columbia Film Classification Office reviewed the game after the controversy in Ontario and deemed the mature rating by the ESRB to be appropriate. In Germany, on the 19th of July 2004, the in Munich confiscated all versions of Manhunt for violation of Statute 131 STGB, representation of violence. According to the court, the game portrays the killings of humans as fun, and the more violent, the more fun the killing is. They also said it glorified villainism, which they considered harmful. In Ireland, Manhunt was released in Ireland with an IFCO rating of 18. Following the BBFC refusal to rate Manhunt 2, the IFO followed suit, refusing to classify the game, thus making it illegal to sell. Their statement read, in part, a prohibition order has been made by the IFCO in relation to the video game Manhunt 2. The order was made on the 18th of June 2007 under Section 7, 1B of the Video Recordings Act, 1989, which refers to acts of gross violence or cruelty, including mutilation and torture. IFCO recognizes that in certain films, DVDs, and video games, strong graphic violence may be a justifiable element with the overall context of the work. However, in the case of Manhunt 2, IFCO believes that there is no such context, and the level of gross, unrelated, and gratuitous violence is unacceptable. Manhunt 2 was the first computer game to be banned in Ireland. A poll of 1,000 people undertaken by the IFCO showed that 80% of the respondents agreed with the ban. In Italy, Manhunt 1 was released in Italy with an 18-plus PEGI certificate. In 2007, Italian Communications Minister Paolo Giuliani described Manhunt 2 as cruel and sadistic, with squalid environments and a continuous insurgent's encouragement to violence and murder. The game was also banned. In Netherlands, despite a request by Parliament of the Ministry of Security and Justice to intervene in the release of the game, Manhunt 2 was sanctioned to be released uncut in the Netherlands. As there was no legal mechanism to block its sales, Rockstar ultimately released a censored version that was released in US and UK markets with an 18-plus PEGI certificate. So even though Rockstar could have put it uncut in the Netherlands, they said fuck that, and they released the censored version. That's some bitch shit right there. I don't give a fuck. That's some bitch shit. I call it out. That's bitch shit. In New Zealand, the first game was banned in New Zealand on the 11th December 2003, with possession deemed an offense. Bill Hastings, the chief censor, stated, "It's a game where the only thing you do is kill everybody you see. You have to at least qualities in these murders and possibly tolerate or even move towards enjoying them, which is injurious to the public good." Manhunt 2 was also banned. The computer game Manhunt 2 was classified. It's questionable due to the manner in which it depicts and deals with murder, of matters of sex, horror, cruelty, and violence. The classification means that it's illegal to import, sell, supply, or possess the game in New Zealand. So it's just flat out, you can't go to New Zealand and play it. In Norway, Manhunt 2 was cleared to be released uncut in Norway, but again, Rockstar bitched out and released the censored version. In United Kingdom, Manhunt received a BBFC 18 certificate, legally permitted its sale to anyone under that age. On the 19th of June 2007, Manhunt 2 was refused classification by the BBFC, meaning it was illegal to sell the game anywhere in the UK. David Cook, director of the BBFC, issued a statement which read in part, "Rejecting a work is a very serious action and one we do not take lightly. Where possible, we try to consider cuts or, in the case of games, modifications which remove the material which controverts the board's published guidelines. In the case of Manhunt 2, this has not been possible. Manhunt 2 is distinguishable from recent high-end video games by its unremitting bleakness and callousness of tone in an overall game. Context with consistently encourages versatile killing, with the exceptionally little aviation or distancing. There is sustained and colossal casual sadism in which the way that killings are committed and encouraged. In the game, although the difference should not be exaggerated, the fact of the game's unrelenting focus on stalking and brutal slaying and their sheer lack of alternative pleasures on offer to the gamer, together with the different overall narrative context, contribute towards differentiating the submission from the original Manhunt game. That work was classified 18 in 2003 before the BBFC's recent games research had been undertaken, but was already at the very top end of what the board judged to be acceptable at that category. Against this background, the board's carefully considered view is that to issue a certificate to Manhunt 2 on either platform would involve a range of unjustifiable harm risks to both adults and minors. With the terms of the Video Recording Act, and accordingly that its availability, even in satirically confined to adults, would be unacceptable to the public. In light of the BBFC's decision, coupled with the ESRB's decision to rate the game adult only in the US, Rockstar decided to censor the game. The primary altercation was the addition of blurring effects over executions. During an execution, the screen turns red and flashes black and white. making it really difficult to see what's happening. Another altercation was the removal of innocent characters from certain levels. Originally, the game was structured in such a way that the player had the choice as to whether or not kill these characters. If they didn't, they got the good ending. If they did, they got the bad ending. Rockstar also removed the rating system. Originally, the game had a rating system similar to the first game, where the player was rated based on speed and severity of the execution types. To achieve a maximum rating, one had to perform a set number of gruesome executions in each level. This rating system was completely removed from the edited version. On the 8th of October, the BBFC once again refused to classify the game. David Cook stated, "We recognize that the distributor has made changes to the game, but we do not consider that these go far enough to address our concerns about the original version. The impact of the revisions on the bleakness and callousness of tone or the essential nature of the gameplay is clearly insufficient. There have been a reduction in the visual detail in some of the execution kills, but in others they retain their original visceral and casually sadistic nature. We did make suggestions for further changes of the game, but the distributor has chosen not to make them, and as a result we have rejected the game on both platforms." On the 26th of November, Rockstar appealed the BBFC's second decision not to rate the game. And then on December 10th of December, the Video Appeals Committee overruled the BBFC by 4 votes to 3. However, on the 17th of December, the BBFC challenged the VAC's decision in the Royal Courts of Justice, claiming that the VAC had overruled them based on a misinterpretation of the law, as laid out in the Video Recording Act. Their challenge superseded the VAC's decision that the game could be classified and halted any possibility of its going on sale. On the 24th of January in 2008, the BBFC won their case in the High Court, and proceeding judge ordered that the same 7-member VAC panel review their findings, and whatever decision they reached the second time would stand. The VAC did so, but on the 14th of March, they returned with the exact same results as the first time, 4 votes to 3 in favor of classifying the game. The game was ultimately released on PS2, PSP, and Wii on the 31st of October 2008 with an 18 cert, the same day as the rest of Europe. Them boys came through. They're like, "We trying to play this shit. Pass it, boys. Pass it. If we don't pass it, what are we doing?" In the United States, Manhunt was released with an M rating in the US to relatively little controversy. On the 19th of June in 2007, the same day the BBFC refused to classify Manhunt 2 in the UK, the ESRB issued the game with an adults-only rating. The initial impact of the decision was that major retail chains such as Walmart and Target would not stock the title. The following day, the 20th of June, Sony and Nintendo both issued statements saying they do not allow adult-only titles on their platform, which officially meant the game was banned in the US. In August, Rockstar submitted the re-edited version to the ESRB, who granted it an M rating. On the 24th of August, later that day, the Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood in California State Senator Leland Yee called for a federal investigation into how the game had its rating downgraded. On the 29th of August, ESRB President Patricia Vance stated that the ESRB had no intention of revealing how it came to the decision to downgrade the rating. Manhunt 2 was released for the PSP, PS2, and Wii in the US on the 31st of October. With an M rating. The very next day, the 1st of November, a method that removed the blurring effect on the PSP and PS2 versions was released by a group of PSP crackers. Leland Yee and the Parents Take Television Council demanded that Manhunt 2 be re-released as adults only, but after examining the situation, the ESRB concluded it was not Rockstar's fault that these hacks could be used and decided to stick with the M rating. Despite the ESRB statement, however, on the 6th of November, Target removed Manhunt 2 from its shelves. On the 22nd of November, U.S. Senators Joe Lieberman, Sam Brownback, Evan Bayeth, and Hillary Clinton wrote an open letter to the ESRB asking for the game to be re-rated adult only. And a quote was, "We ask your consideration of whether it is time to review the robustness, relatability, and repeatability of your ratings process, particularly for this genre of ultra-violent video games and the advances in game controllers. We have consistently urged parents to pay attention to the ESRB rating system. We must ensure that parents can rely on the consistency and accuracy of those ratings." The ESRB again refused to re-rate the game and stuck with the M rating. They are gangsters. I mean, really, M is for 17 and older. Or 18 and older now. I forget how it is. I mean, I'm old enough. I don't need the sticker. But on the 31st of October 2009, Rockstar started taking pre-orders for a PC port of the original, unedited version of the game through Direct2Drive. It was released in the US on the 6th of November 2009 with an adult-only rating. However, the game was later removed from the service after Direct2Drive was purchased by GameFly, due to GameFly's policy of not carrying adult-rated games. But there is good news for you guys out there. If you want to play Manhunt 2 uncensored, unedited, uncut, raw, the whole version that the whole world tried to ban, if you look hard enough on Google, I'm not gonna tell you how. If you look hard enough on Google, you can get that PC version, and you can play that game. You just gotta look hard enough. Let's talk about some of the recognition of Manhunt. The Manhunt series has garnered a cult following among video game fans, and I'm sure of the horror guys. It has garnered positive reviews for the most part, especially the first game. At the 7th Annual Interactive Achievement Awards, Manhunt was nominated for Console Action Adventure Game of the Year. In 2010, it was included in 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die, and listed at number 85 in IGN's Top 100 PlayStation 2 Games. The first game was nominated in the second British Academy Video Games Awards in the audio category. Manhunt 2 was also listed at number 82 in Complex, the 100 Best Video Games of the Complex Decade. It was nominated for GameSpy's 2007 Game of Year Award for the PS2, and Rockstar London was nominated for the Best New UK European Studio Award. Giant Bomb listed it at number 13 in their Best Storyline in Gaming list, and at number 15 in their Shocking Moments in Video Games list. When GameSpot asked Jeremy Barria if there's trouble that Rockstar experienced in attempting to bring Manhunt 2 to release in North America had put the publisher off the franchise, Barria shot down any doubt by confirming that if the fans wanted it, they were willing to continue the brand. Rockstar Games admitted that they were proud of the series, and the fact people still want to pick on the games is a strange and unfortunate reality. Mark Westbrook gave an interview with the official UK PlayStation magazine in April 2007, in which he said that much of the reasoning behind the development of Manhunt 2 was its fan base. The original Manhunt had a very loyal fan base, and when we decided to start working on Manhunt 2, it was immediately decided that we had to stick to certain themes and mechanics to keep the original fans happy, but we also wanted to expand and surpass what the original accomplished so well. Because of its presentation of grim graphical violence and the amount of controversy it has garnered, Manhunt has been noted by many as one of the most violent video games in history. It was listed at number 1 in GameRank's list of the top 25 goriest games of all time, and at number 8 in IGN's top 10 gaming controversies. It was also listed in UGO's the most controversial video games. Machinima ranked it at number 1 in their top 10 bloodiest games ever. The Chicago Tribune called it the Clockwork Orange of video games, saying that it marked a significant moment in video gaming history by introducing mature content into the medium. Switch.com named it a modern classic. During the release of the first game, a former Rockstar employee admitted that the game almost caused a mutiny in the company, saying that it may sound surprising, but there was almost a mutiny at the company over that game. It was Rockstar's North Pet project. Most of us at Rockstar Games wanted no part of it. We've already weathered plenty of controversy over at GTA 3 and Vice City, so we're not strangers to it. But Manhunt felt different. When GTA, we always had the excuse that the gameplay was untethered. You never had to hurt anybody that wasn't a bad guy. And one of the missions, you could play completely ethically if you wanted, and the game was a parody anyway, so lighten up. Now let's talk somewhat about the future. There has been speculation in future titles in the Manhunt series, specifically concerning Manhunt 3, with rumors including the possibility of a PlayStation 3 release using the PlayStation Move. Take-Two, however, have rebuked all those rumors, and in October 2007, Stefan Tolio of MTV Games asked Rockstar Games producer Jeremy Barria about the possibilities of a multiplayer component being added to future iterations of Manhunt franchise, such as adding the game to be the Rockstar's Game Social Club, and Barria seemingly embraced the idea. It's a very interesting question. Who knows where the Manhunt series is going to go, and that's definitely something that warrants some exploring on our pod for sure. And there you have it, guys. That is the Manhunt video game series documentary of the Forgotten series, episode 6. Now I'm going to talk about a little bit of my thoughts. They said that there was a possibility for the game to open up and come back, but considering the last game was Manhunt 2 in October 2007 and how much controversy it happened, and the fact that you still can't buy the uncensored, unedited PC version on Steam right now or anywhere in the world right now, you have to go through certain hoops and measures that you can get and find if you use Google search engine, and I'm not going to tell you how, but if you look deep enough, you'll get it. And what do you think, guys? You guys think Manhunt will pop back up in the PS5? Gory, graphical, uncensored, uncut, slicing people's throats out, eating their heart and chopping their livers? I don't know. Would I want the game to return back and its crazy graphics? I mean, it would certainly it would stir the pot the fuck up in this damn snowflake century of decade gaming nizzles, socialism, journalism, fucking world that we live in. I would love to see Manhunt come here and shake shit up, but considering that Rockstar's dominating with GTA 5 in their online mode with the shot cards right now, I don't think they're gonna be looking at anywhere in Manhunt's direction. But do you think a Manhunt new game, either a new game or a remastered, uncensored version dropped to the bottom of the earth, came out for PS5, do you think it would stand? Do you think it would stir the pot of controversy again? Do you think it would hunt everybody and cause those nightmares that everybody be having in their dreams and shock the world yet again? I say it would, but you let me know in the comments below. So make sure you stay up to date with all the latest in gaming tech news and reviews. Smash that like, and as always, subscribe. God bless and peace.